How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. This is Sam Holcman. Today's topic is an article that I discovered on May 10th, and it's titled, "Do You Still Believe These 19 Ridiculous Tech Myths?" The article was authored by a gentleman named Eric Griffith, and what I'm doing here is just highlighting a few things that I think are really important to our audience here. And of course, if you'd like to read the whole article, which is a number of pages, just go to your favorite search engine, look up Eric Griffith, Griffith, and the title of the article is, "Do You Still Believe These 19 Ridiculous Tech Myths?" The ones I'm going to cover really have to do with enterprise architecture, business architecture, and directly technology for those of you that are looking through the technology of architecture eyes. And also some of the things here that we should always consider when we're looking at it. First one is mentioned is the following. Remember, these are ridiculous tech myths according to Eric. Number one, privacy incognito mode is totally private. Well, let's summarize there for all of us. No. There's nothing stopping the sites or even your ISP from knowing where you're going. And of course, that's a very, very important thing. Even if you're using a VPN, a virtual private network, incognito mode, you can't mask all of it. The only way to even get close is to use a browser that, like Brave or Tor, that has a number of additional, I'll use the phrase, masking settings that are there. So let's just think about that as we move forward. Number two, cybercrime? Nah, not you and I. We're too small for people to worry about that, these evildoers. Well, that's also a myth. Basically, what people are looking for that are criminals or cyber criminals, as I like to call them, evildoers, is personal privacy information. And they can mask that information and map that information even though you think it's masked, put two and two together, and all of a sudden your life is in chaos. So let's remember that cybercrime can hit anyone because of the vast collection ability and matching abilities that are going on, especially now that we're now seeing, of course, AI and artificial intelligence and what that can do. For those of us that are also Mac users or iPhone users, one of the old myths that Macs and iPhones don't get malware. Well, let me summarize there also. No. That's not the case anymore by any means. Number four, AI is human-like. Well, guess what? At least as you and I speak today or listen to this broadcast, the answer is no. There is no human intelligence. It's not self-aware. AI doesn't have feelings or any of that type of situation. What AI actually is right now is pattern matching. And what it can do is match patterns that you and I possibly haven't seen before. Okay, and Eric has a sentence here I'm going to read exactly. These are not my words, they're Eric's, but I think they're pretty good. The tool will then vomit back something that mashes all that information together. Okay. Number five, Alexa records everything. No, Alexa or Google Home or Apple HomePod or Amazon Echo doesn't record everything. Only on prompt. Now, if you set the device up to record everything, of course, it's going to record everything. We have to remember that. Okay. Number six, phones take pictures as well as full-frame cameras. As a photographer, I can say to you right now, absolutely not. It has nothing to do with the number of megapixels by any means. The biggest thing is the size of the image sensor. I use what's called a full frame sensor in my 35 millimeter camera, and anyone that looks at the photographs that I take, Huge difference. I actually like to call what I do photography rather than taking pictures. Number 7, batteries develop memory. Basically, that was the days of nickel-cadmium batteries, lithium-ion batteries. Not anymore. Now, there is some degradation there. Along with that, you should only charge your phones to 0%, only when they hit 0%. Another myth. Charging phones overnight overloads the battery. Another myth. Another myth. You can't recycle electric vehicle batteries. Incorrect. Now, there's a lot of issues with that size of a brick in the electric vehicles that are today, but they are recyclable. 5G makes you sick. 5G cell signals. Nothing to date, at least, has shown that that is even remotely correct. Product radiation is making you radioactive. Once again, a myth that no one has even gotten close to proving to be correct. One of my favorite ones, and I do enjoy high-definition television and really, really great audio, is HDMI cables provide better pictures if they're more expensive. Now, there is some truth to that depending on the length of the cable, and the length of the cable tends to be at least 75 feet long is when that signal degradation can occur. On the other end of the scale, of course, you have to recognize that when you have distances, there is more opportunity for interference, and therefore the shielding has to be good. So you have to check that. Lots of talk about Starlink and satellite for internet service providers and things like that. Great thing for people that have access difficulties. But right now, fiber especially versus copper into your home or into your office is very, very much superior as far as stability and things like that. Number 15, airport x-rays erase laptops and smartphone memories. Nope, not the ones that are being used at all to even be close there. This one was interesting to me because I really thought about it for some time, and I actually went back and forth. But studies show, number 16, as a myth, PCs should be shut down every night. Not as far as we can tell. Yes, there are still, and this research can tell, there are motors in there for fans and things like that, and there's heat issues, but there's nothing really showing right now that has any effect at all on the longevity of the devices that are there. Apple has been in some controversial situations, and one of them was Apple slows down old devices to get you buy new ones. There was discussions about that. I think it was called Battery Gate or something like that some time ago. Nothing there, again, that is provable. And 18, and this is something in my own household, cutting the cable cord is going to save you money. Well, if I look at my bills for all the streaming services that I have, I think I have more variety possibly, and possibly more selection, but my monthly bill hasn't gone down. And one of my last favorites, the favorite one that I have here, and that's why I left it to last, is cloud computing is actually in the sky. No. I know most of you will also know that that's silly. There is no such thing as cloud computing. What really cloud computing is running your stuff on somebody else's environment. Great idea, but not in the cloud. Hope this was a little bit entertaining, and hope it was a little interesting to you. And remember, those 19 things we just talked about were myths.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.